with Lakuchi River Electric Cooperative. Member-owned, community-focused.
Hello and welcome to the Turkey Man Show. I'm Kevin Vaughn, or better known here at REC as the Turkey Man. I'm a longtime Withlacoochee lineman. Today I'm sitting down and speaking with two local authors in our community. Please welcome Lynn Van Meter and Stefanie Schatzman. Hello and welcome to the Turkey Man Show.
Hello.
I guess I'll start with Lynn. Please tell us about yourself and what type of books that you write.
Okay, sure. So my name is Lynn Van Meter, and I write children's picture books as well as middle grade mystery novels. So I have a book out right now called Boo Boo Queen, and it is a picture book, fun read for parents or grandparents to sit down and read to their little ones. Very engaging art and storyline, and really the underlying theme of that is empathy and kindness. And I have another book that's getting ready to be released. It's a middle grade mystery novel, and it revolves around alligators.
Okay.
And I can't wait to share that with you as well.
Well, that's fitting for Florida for sure.
It is a little fitting. There's a lot of...
Show them your earrings.
I did.
Yeah.
They can't... So I have on alligator clip earrings. Yeah, so... And I'm also working on a nonfiction book, so I'm excited when that will. That one's a little more hard work because it's a lot of research, but
and that's for mostly for children.
It's all for kids. So anywhere from, I would say, 3 to 12 is kind of my range. So picture books are more for younger kids to kind of sit on the lap of someone and share those images and that story. And the next level up is middle grade. So that could be like 4th to 6th grade readers where they can read independently, and it's a novel book. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I know I have 9 grandbabies.
You do?
So I actually enjoy that part of them sitting on Papa's lap and reading.
I brought you a book, so I'll send that home with you.
Well, that's awesome. So Stefanie, could you please tell us about yourself and what type of books that you write?
I've been a member of Withlacoochee for 32 years, so
awesome.
Absolutely impressed with the company.
I appreciate that.
I write young adult fantasy, and my finished books are The Shadowlink, The Mages of Sterling Bridge, and it went through 4 editions. That was a learning process. I joined Brooksville Writers Club and met a lot of awesome people, and that's where I learned that I needed to edit and edit again. And edit again in 4th edition. And then we joined we created the writing menu, Dishing Ideas. So my second book is Shadowlink, Two Sides of Hexel. And it did win a Florida Authors and Publishers Association 2024 Young Adult Silver Award. My third book will probably be published the end of December. And this is a series, and it'll probably go on for about 6 or 7 books. And every Sunday I post on my Facebook page a short story that has to do with my my series. So then you get more in-depth characters, magical objects, or creatures.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, congratulations on the award.
Well, thank you.
Yes, and that's pretty interesting. When you say edit, you have somebody that reads the storyline or reads the book prior to its printing. Is that what you?
Well, in this case, I published it, and I was a novice, so I didn't know anything. And then I joined Brooksville Writers Club, and I met Ami, and she looked at it and she said, "Oh my gosh, your POV is all over," which is point of view. She says, "Nope, not." So then I wrote it and published the 2nd edition. Then I read it and I said, "Yeah, you know what? I can condense it." So I condensed it.
Right.
So that's me editing my own book.
Okay.
But yeah, it went through 4 editions before I'm happy with it. Second book, 1 edition.
Wow. So the editing process is
improving.
She's a great editor. She's edited all of my books so far. So punctuation, word choice, the POV that she mentioned, that's something that is a novice writer mistake where you're writing and in your brain you know what's happening, but now it's somebody else is talking over here. It's like, wait, who was that? It's like you're giving your reader whiplash.
Trying to being able to convey the story that's in your mind.
Correct.
Where somebody else reads it and thinks about it the same way you're writing it.
Correct.
Right. So.
Yeah.
So what has inspired you guys to start writing, and how did your journey as an author begin? So, Lynn.
Wow. So, I grew up in a home where reading was just utmost. We had encyclopedias because I'm that old, and we had so many books. And my mom read to my brother and I from a young age, and I was reading when I went to school. Like, I could read independently when I went to school. So, love for reading and learning has always been ingrained in me. And I guess I really started writing, seriously when I was a stay-at-home mom with my 3 kids, because what we did a lot was go to the library and check out lots of books, and we'd read lots of books. And, in reading some of these books, I'm like, I can do that. So I started writing. And that was, a while ago. So that was when publishing was really different. So I tried traditional publishing and didn't seem to make a go of it because it's a pretty tough field. Right. So kind of set it aside, raised my kids, and in joining this writers group, Stefanie specifically is the one that got me off the dime. She's like, "You've written all these stories. Why aren't you publishing?" And I think I was hesitant because I had received rejections on my novels and picture books from traditional publishers, and not everybody who writes is going to land a book deal, with
Sure.
Random or whoever the publisher is. And so, the ability to self-publish now, anybody can do it because it's that accessible. And so I'm excited because I have a lot of material that's just been sitting untapped and unpublished. So that's actually where my current book, Boo Boo Queen, and my next book, The Lake with a Thousand Eyes, will be released. It's a middle grade mystery, and I wrote it 15 years ago.
Okay. So your inspiration really came from your love of reading books, having them available at home when you were younger, and then your own children.
Yeah, it really did. And I think for me, I was thinking when we got invited to be on the podcast, kind of what drives my story. And for me, it's character and place. So,
Right.
In the Boo Boo Queen, that book is really, I drew from my own daughter because she literally was always chasing her older siblings, and she constantly had Band-Aids all over because she was getting her boo-boos. And then my next book, it's really based on, my first true, here's Florida, and now you're on a lake and there's a bazillion alligators. And that's kind of what inspired me to write the next book.
Awesome. Well, Stefanie, what inspires you to write?
Well, when I first started, I was in middle school, and I believe it was probably because I liked to draw. And so I wanted a story to go with my drawings. And then by high school, I met a friend, and she was writing, and we became competitive. So we were writing stories. The interesting thing is that since Sunday, I have to come up with a new idea every week to write about my characters, and I couldn't think of one week, so I went back to these. I have books of all my stories from way back when, and I pulled one, and I rewrote it, and it ended up being one of my highest read stories on my Facebook, which I found was ironic since I wrote it in middle school. And
Right.
then just brought it up to date. But
So new inspiration from an older writing, I guess.
It did save the day because
Right.
coming up with a new story every week is it can be quite a stretch on the brain activity.
And I was wondering about that myself because I don't write like you ladies do. And for somebody that might be out there that's trying to write, that I was wondering about the inspiration and what it takes. I know I have artists in my family, and there's times when they have to be inspired. If you go up and say, "Hey, I want to pay you to do this," it sometimes that inspiration, they have to have that inspiration and be able to find that every day to be able to paint, and I wondered if it was the same in writing. You have that inspiration and what you draw from, and so that's interesting. Your stories and inspires you guys to write? So,
Well, Lynn used
Yeah.
to tease me because starting
Used
in middle
to?
school, well, she still does. She still does. But starting in middle school, if I saw something, because I'm fantasy, I'm all about fantasy. So if I saw something, and I love abandoned buildings, so I take zillions of pictures of those. But I have binders. I have binders and binders and binders. So if I
Okay.
really get blocked, writer's block,
Right.
I can flip through those binders and they'll trigger something to inspire me to write if I need to.
That's neat. That's interesting. So we've already talked about it a little bit, but what themes do you find yourselves returning to in your writing? So we've talked, about your children inspiring you, and talked about the old buildings. Those things inspire. So what do you find yourself coming back to the most?
So I think for me, again, the picture book, it could, I have another picture book I'm collaborating on with my youngest daughter. She just graduated from UCF with her art degree. So she's actually going to illustrate the book for me. But again, that was the story premise is sense of place. So we actually got to go to Amsterdam and tour around there and have friends that live there. And so that book is literally based on an experience that we had there.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I think for me, it's I wear glasses to read, but I feel like as a writer, I'm seeing my books through my own lens, right? So
Right.
just driving here this morning, coming back, through the countryside and seeing all the cows and the birds this morning, those things just stay in my brain. And the sense of place, and being able to kind of transport your reader to that situation.
Yes.
And so they go, oh, I feel it. I can feel, that humidity sitting on me or whatever. And so so I think for me it's that. And then I collect names. So she collects pictures. I collect names of people because I always want an interesting name. So if you're the checkout girl at Publix, I'm writing down your name because you have a cool name. And sometimes trying to find the right name for your characters or things that you kind of hang on to
That's
for
interesting.
future.
Right. So let me ask this. I was just wondering, with all the technology that's out there, do you find any difficulty with people wanting an actual book, a hardcover book? Has that been a challenge for either one of you?
No, actually, we did the Booksville Festival.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was January of this year, and that place, people came. It
From
was,
all over.
It
Oh,
was
that's
very
awesome.
successful. So I think people really want stories. So if you get your book published or an ebook, you can do we always
Ebook
do
also.
the ebook
So
too.
you have that avenue also.
Yes.
So it's not really, I got you. I was just wondering, with so much, the ebooks and tablets and all those things, being able to, inspire a younger generation to go back to the actual books, the actual hardcovers. You had mentioned in encyclopedias. I remember those, so we're telling on ourselves
We
a little
are a
bit.
little bit.
But those things, I still remember, looking things up and being inspired by that,
Well, I think for any listener out there who has thought, oh, I want to write a book, but I don't know how. That's one of the things that we even talk about on our own podcast, because I think it can be a very daunting, well, I shouldn't say I think, it is a very daunting process. So over the weekend, I was reaching out to Stefanie and another lady that's in our podcast just about how to copyright my book. Like
Right.
that's a whole other thing that I've not done yet. And, just the entire process start to end is daunting, but that's why we really encourage find a group, find somebody who's done the process. Because once you get the process down, then it's just a matter of getting off the dime and writing your book.
I got you. Okay. So we talked about it a little bit. How has living in our community influenced your writing or storytelling? So you'd mentioned just driving through to get here today.
I did. I think Florida is so unique. I grew up in the Midwest, and I love nature, and I'm a national park, state park, local park junkie, and just literally I think that the landscape of any area, but Florida especially, something about Spanish moss is like it's the weirdest but coolest thing, and I think it really can even set a scene, I think that's what kind of draws me in is the landscape, and then the animals that are native to here, whether it's alligators or the spoonbills or, the sandhill cranes in their droves walking across wherever road you're driving on. That to me is, living here, that's really great fodder for writing.
Well, you sound like you more of the old Florida, the original Florida.
Yeah.
And that's what I grew up in, and seeing a lot of changes here in the state. But the old live oak trees with the Spanish moss and those kind of things, and unfortunately, a lot of that's being removed. Yeah. And progress has to come. But that old Florida, that's those kind of stories are what I like.
Yeah.
For influence, I'm going to go with people, because we started out with the Brooksville Writers Social, which was basically a dinner and an encouragement to write. Then we went to the Brooksville Writers Club.
Right.
And then we went to the writing menu, Dishing Ideas. And it's a connection with the people.
Right.
And when we do our recordings, we record at the Profound Revelation Studio in Brooksville. And oh my gosh, what a very unique opportunity. So if anybody plays music on Thursday night at 7 o'clock, they open their doors and anybody can come in and jam with anybody else there.
Oh, that's interesting.
But they are.
And that's in Brooksville?
That's in Brooksville
Okay.
on Jefferson, 316 West Jefferson. They are so charming. So the people that we have met and become friends, we weren't friends before.
No, we weren't.
So
Now we're besties.
But I'm
So
gonna
the
say,
community has brought you together, and
It really has,
Yeah.
and we're diverse.
Right.
Our group, I'm from the Midwest, and I write children's, and Stefanie is originally from,
Massachusetts,
but
Okay.
has lived in St. Pete for a very long time.
before moving to Pasco.
And she used to have a printing business back in the day,
I
you
did.
know. And
Printing and graphics.
so our group is so diverse, and we all write in a different genre, but that sense of community and local, because I used to do like online critique groups, but it just wasn't the same as this, face-to-face stuff you can do with your friends and have a laugh and joke about when are you ever to get that book done. Because, that's what she did to me. When are you ever going to get that done?
So you feel like that has played a role in shaping the community, your writing?
Definitely. I think it's, we have our authors that come in and they speak on our podcast, so we're broadening. And we went to the Hernando Library a few weeks ago to listen to an author. This lady ended up working the whole room.
What lady? What are you talking about?
It's so funny. I was talking to the author, she's going to be a special guest on our podcast. And this lady's over there. Boom, boom, I'll tell you, she's got the whole group. So we're going to do a presentation on 101 on writing, because you think you write a book, but there is so much that goes into writing. The ISBN members, you don't want Amazon to give you one. You want to have your own, your POV, your formatting,
There's a lot of technical components.
So a lot goes into it.
A lot. And I think that the biggest, if I could sum this entire thing up in one thought, is a friend of mine who I met at a writing conference years ago. She was the one who really encouraged me to move forward, but tell your story, even if you sell one copy, it's your story, it's special to you. And, everybody goes into writing for different reasons, but tell your story, because it may really resonate with somebody. And I think anybody at any age can write. One of the ladies in our group is
82.
82. And she
Wow.
has written
She just published her 8th book.
8th book.
And she was going to
That's
take
awesome.
a break, and she's already writing on her 9th book.
So
that's the advice you'd give on aspiring someone else to write is...
yeah, connect
to
with your
connect.
local community.
Right.
Find a writing community. We've had people come and just talk to us, because we do a prep session every week before we do our podcast, because we record 4 or 5 at one time, one sitting, so we're super organized. But we'll have people come we go to Culver's in Brooksville, and they'll come and meet us and pick our brain. We had a young girl come last month, I think. Right. And she's published, but she wanted information. And we're like,
Sure.
come on, because I think it's that sense of community. And that's what With Lakuchi's about. I mean,
Right,
we were talking before we got on this podcast. I know a lot of the people here in Hernando, and have worked with them. And it's exciting to see that this podcast is doing more than just, for the company, but it's that whole community, which is With Lakuchi through and through. And we're a believer in, it takes a village.
Well, that's what we do. We serve our community, and that's what this is about today. So what's next for you? Any upcoming projects and recent releases you're excited about? I guess we've talked about it already.
Kind of go out of order a little bit.
Yeah,
my next book is called The Lake with 1,000 Eyes, and it's literally based on my personal experience of going to Lake Jessup. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's over by Orlando, but it's a massive lake. And years ago, it's where they used to move all the alligators that we would find in the lakes in Winter Park area. And so they would move them out there, and there's just tons and tons of gators. But that'll be released soon. And then I mentioned the book I'm working on with my my daughter. It's about it's the Eurasian coot.
Okay.
It's about a bird, and their loose translation is called a water chicken. So it's a story of this water chicken. And then I'm working on a nonfiction book, because I try to read. It's like Stefanie. Just because we write doesn't mean we're not out there reading. What do people want? What do people need? What are people clamoring for? Because sometimes you try to write to that, but one of the things I was reading is they need more nonfiction books for kids.
Right.
And so I'm thinking, who's somebody that's cool that maybe is not as noted as other people that made a big impact on some part of the world? So I'm writing about a lady, and I'm going to make a trip out to Yellowstone and write about her life, and more on that later.
Awesome. I know one of my kids' favorite books was written about Yellowstone.
Really?
Out that way. So, I mean, just the inspiration, the lake with 1,000 eyes, alligators, and all those things, that draws the attention of the little ones, younger ones.
Yep,
yes,
for sure.
I think we're going to do some book events, and definitely we're going to do the Booksville Festival event, which is January 24th, 2026. It's open right now for authors. If they want to sign up for the event, they can go on their website, or they can go on their Facebook page to get more information. We have a book event in Pasco on the 25th, and Lynn is actually you're going to be in Claremont.
In Claremont for a book event. And I'm going to Georgia this weekend for a book event.
Well, that's awesome. So it's the community is far reaching. It goes beyond just Pasco or Hernando County or Citrus or Pasco County, these areas. So, I mean,
Well, and I think the local bookstores in our geographic, in the With Lakuchi service area, if you will, are just so welcoming. The Book Shack here in Dade City, they, exactly, love them. But they're like, if you're, self-published, come on in, let's talk about it. And they have your books there. And I already sold 3 of the books I put there, and I had to restock. And my book's in Claremont at the Sunshine Book Co., and then it's also in Newport Richey at the Paperback Exchange. And so I'm looking to, get it out there beyond digital for people who want to walk in, pick up the book, flip through it, and go, my daughter or my granddaughter would love this book, or whatever.
That's awesome. Is there anything else you guys would like to add? I think we've covered it pretty good.
We could talk forever.
We talk forever. Well, that's okay, I guess.
So I would encourage anybody who listens to this who's interested about how to even tackle the concept of writing, publishing, getting it out there. Listen to our podcast, the Writing Menu Dishing Ideas podcast, because we break it down. We talk about the struggles as a writer, the pitfalls. What do you do when you have writer's block? All the things that without our little community, I don't know that I would be where I am today in my writing journey and publishing journey. And so that's I guess my last plug.
Yeah, I would say don't go alone. You need an accountability partner.
Yeah, Stefanie.
Somebody that nags you.
Nag.
I wish my nagging worked as well on my kids. See what services your local library offers you. Join the Brooksville Writers Club. That's basically a Facebook page now because we actually do the writing menu dishing ideas. But we do post a lot of information on the Brooksville Writers Club. Join an author Facebook page. Read books on writing like Hero's Journey, because there is a format to writing. Save the Cat is another one, on writing by Stephen King. And AutoCrit offers extensive training on writing along with short story writing contests featuring deadlines and unexpected twists. And they open up a lot of their programs. So you do have some programs like AutoCrit and Pro Writing Aid that are phenomenal for writing that will help with most of us can't afford an editor. Let's be truthful.
Right.
We're broke just like musicians. So
The creative arts. Go creative arts.
But there are programs like Pro Writing Aid and AutoCrit that tremendously help with your writing. And AutoCrit has amazing coaches, and they open up writing contests where they open up some of their programs, and so you have a chance to write, and then they do a summary because they have thousands of entries of what people. I never heard of floating heads before. I knew what it was, but I never knew the term. Is like when you're writing, there's no background in the story. So it's just like there's just a black wall and two people are standing there. The reader has no content. So they did a floating heads. So anyway, there's things that they need to do. And I think if you do some of these things, you'll succeed.
So there's
in
a lot of
writing.
resources available.
But my last thing, I promise, my last thing is beware of scammers.
Okay.
Yes,
Definitely. Unfortunately, members of our little group have been scammed. So
You mean like stealing ideas? or-
no, like if they say, "Oh, I can do this for you for
Oh, okay.
X," and they're not legit, taking a lot of your money up front.
Right.
You just got to really make sure whoever you're engaging with is vetted, if you will,
And legit, yes.
And I think there's a site called Editors and Predators where they really try. The writing community itself tries to make sure that if there's a bad experience with any individual, that it gets blasted out to the world, so you aren't, succumb to a bad deal where you lose money and potentially your story.
Writers Beware has a website.
Yeah.
And they list
Okay.
all of those.
Well, that's good information to know for anyone starting to write, or even those that have already been doing it and wanting to publish. Or
Sure.
It's good information. Well, thank you both for being here today, and I appreciate you coming to the Turkey Man Show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, we enjoyed it. Thank you.
With Lacoochee River Electric Cooperative, member owned, community focused.